All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to your November SBDM webinar. So it's a pretty short webinar, concise agenda. I have Trey Smallwood, who's going to talk to you all about SBDM and comprehensive school improvement plans. And then I'm just going to cover two topics very quickly. So the free KET SBDM 101 seats, and then the council verification data. So I'm going to turn it over to Trey. So Trey is a program consultant here in District 180, and he's going to talk to you all about SBDM and comprehensive school improvement plans.
Thank you all for letting me be here today. Thank you to Mia for letting me be here. We work together in District 180, so we get to work very closely together. So I'm really excited to be here and talk to you all about the comprehensive school improvement plans, or those CSIPs, and the role that the SBDM plays in those specific. This is a very broad overview of the CSIP and really just specifically looking at the SBDM Council's role in those. So the SBDM Council is the one responsible for developing a plan to ensure student progress. That is in the revised statute. I have it there for you, but councils must annually review this data and adopt a plan to ensure that, and this is from the statute, that each student makes progress towards meeting goals. And so the CSIP serves as the school's formal plan in order to address those goals. And the statute also includes that the plan should be developed with the help of parents, faculty, and staff. We see a lot of the time that these plans are either developed by the principal and just approved by the SBDM Council, or just by the SBDM Council and the principal, but doesn't really take into account parents, faculty, and staff. But really, this should be a collaborative effort between the council, the principal, and those key stakeholders. And ultimately, though, it is the principal and the council members that help to ensure that there's alignment between SBDM policies and the priorities within that CSIP. So this is probably the needs assessment is probably something you've already done. That was due at the start of the month. So the annual needs assessment can include academic and must include both academic and non-academic data. So we had a lot of questions about how to do the needs assessment since the state assessment data is not out yet. You can include all kinds of different data sources when you're doing your needs assessment. We see a lot of schools stick strictly to their state assessment data, but you can also use local benchmarks, iReady, like iReady Map, or district-wide formatives. If you do those, you can use post-secondary readiness data, behavior data, attendance, climate, so surveys from parents and students. Those are all data that can be looked at and reviewed in your needs assessment. And so ultimately, though, this needs assessment should be used to inform your CSIP goals. And that means that the council should participate in and agree to the resulting priorities, because they also reviewed the data from the school to inform the CSIP. Okay. So the principal, in conjunction with the council, drafts the CSIP together. So the plan always includes goals, objectives, strategies, activities, progress monitoring, and funding. You all are probably already familiar with that, and I get that. However, new this year is that plans are only required to address achievement gap targets and a goal for state assessment results in reading and mathematics. Those are the only two required goals now in the CSIP. However, those other categories of goals are optional based on the needs assessment. For example, you look at your local accountability data and you see that post-secondary readiness has fallen. So you can make that one of your optional goals. The CSIP also serves as your Title I Part A school-wide plan, if that applies to you. We love to say that the CSIP is a living document. It should constantly be monitored and adjusted throughout the school year. So it's on the principal and the SBDM council to monitor the implementation throughout the year. And so it's best practice to review the progress of the plan on a regular schedule. Maybe that is at a monthly meeting or at a quarterly meeting. That way that you are intentional about the way you are monitoring the plan. You can use updated data and stakeholder feedback to adjust strategies and activities. So when data is released tomorrow, if you have additional things you need to add to the plan, that's perfectly fine. And once again, just to emphasize that this is a living document, it can be modified and changed. You can go into the Cognia eProve SIP platform and change it without us having to do anything. It's not just a one-time piece of compliance you do just to check that box. This should be a living document that informs your instructional priorities as a school. I did want to give you the revised template. This is what it looks like. I know previously you all are used to probably the columns and the boxes. We may use this to make it more user-friendly and also more ADA accessible. You can see that instead of putting them in boxes and rows, you're going to type your 3 to 5 year goal, your objectives, strategies, and activities. Those things are connected. So if you want to color code, that's fine. If you want to use numbers, that's fine. If you to show how things are connected, that's really up to the local school or the district, how you want to organize that information. Like I said, we really only wanted to provide you a quick overview of the council's role in the CSIP. Do you all have any questions for me? All right, we are always available to answer your CSIP needs assessment questions. You can email me, trey.smallwood@education.ky.gov. Also on my team, you may have communicated with Veronica Bowler or Ruth Swanson. Any of the three of us are always around to answer your questions about this. Once again, thank you all so much for being here. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to assist you all.
Thanks, Trey. And to add on to that, if you do have any questions, you can reach out to Trey directly, or you can reach out to me, and Trey sits right next to me. So I'm happy to yell over my cubicle wall to him any of your questions that you may have. So the KET SBDM 101, we still have seats available for that. So those seats are available for new council members. If those council members are interested in the self-paced training, please share the SBDM 101 registration form with them. It will email them instructions and the coupon code to register for the course. For your experienced council members who are still untrained, we have 2 free self-paced courses, Council's Role with Continuous Improvement and Roles and Responsibilities. They could take either of those to satisfy the training requirements. And finally, council verification data was due on November 1st. If you have not submitted that information, please do so immediately. I have already reached out to you if you were missing data or to ask questions about your minority representation situation. I will keep an eye on the database, and you'll probably hear from me in a few weeks if things have not been updated. And that email is just to get an update on the current situation. And as a reminder, for those schools that are identified as CSI, they must have the names of their advisory leadership team or their ALT members. That's all that I have for you today. I'm going to put the attendance form in the chat, and I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Oh, we have a question. When is the CSIP due in each district? So that's going to be due January 1st, assuming it's the CSIP and not the CDIP, because the CSIP is for each school and then there's the CDIP. Is that accurate, Trey?
Yes, and that date is specific to us. That's when we have to have it. I know a lot of the time your districts may require you to have it sooner, but ultimately that January 1st deadline is our deadline.
And is that for the CDIP as well?
Yes.
Thank you.